I'm just going to shut it down so we can talk a little bit easier. Okay. All right, let's first take a look at the graph. Let's just get that out of the way so we can see what kind of power it made and what kind of torque. So 430 torque, 472 horsepower. That's not bad for a starting point. Let's take a look at our data here. So let's just worry about doing our fuel tuning first, then we'll take a look at the spark timing and reviewing that and making some changes. So looking here at our MAF EQ error, this is when we're in power enrichment mode. We've exited closed loop, we're in open loop, in power enrichment. We've richened up the target air fuel so that it's safe under full throttle. What we're finding here, this is reporting the deviation or the difference from what we're commanding 0.85 lambda, and we're seeing that it's running 0.94 lambda. It's running leaner than what you'd expect. So the equation that we built here is showing us the deviation or the differences, and this is showing us how much we need to go and update things by. So when I'm reviewing this, I would say looking at this, we see 13%, 12%, 12, 10. I'd probably go in here and update everything about 10%. We can see it's roughly about 10% off in flow. Now that's not going to be unbelievable as far as the values go. It looks like that should be probably about right, about 10% flow deviation. So we're going to go and update this, but I'm not going to do it at low frequencies here. We're going to keep it right around maybe 65 and higher. We're going to go and add that in. We can kind of see where the data points here are plotted. Now, it is going to be a little bit scattered because it's moving through and transitioning through the area when I started to drive here. So as I was going, we can kind of see the effect. As I was going here in the beginning of the pool, on our log here about 2,000, I was getting on the throttle, and we can see that it's going to go and start to register more airflow. So it's bouncing around there. We kind of ignore these data points where it's skipping around a little bit. We're going to focus on the data points that are more plotted solidly because that's better data to look at. So at 7,000 hertz, we're going to go into our table. Let's close this quick here, jump into engine, and jump into airflow versus frequency. So we need to update this. So I'm going to make sure that I go here from, again, roughly 7,000. We'll go here from roughly 7,000. We're going to highlight all the way up here to the very top of the table. It looks like it's going to fight me here in doing that. Let's go downward. Sometimes we have to go the other way to highlight. All right, looks like that's going to fight me as well here. So let's go and just highlight here from, grab as much of the table as we can get here in our highlighting. All the way to the top of the table to roughly 7. And we're going to go here and type 1.1. We're going to be reporting 10% more airflow or grams per second entering the motor there. Now, when we do that, watch what's going to happen here to our MAF curve, which you need to be careful of. Notice that there's a step here. We need to go and smooth that out. That is not going to be good. We don't want to see those kind of steps. We need to go back into our table, and we've highlighted right here to 7,000 and above. We've added. Let's grab here from roughly 6,250 to 7,000. That's right around that transition point where we go from closed to open on this car to where it's going in here to the start of our pool. We're going to use our horizontal interpolation. We're going to interpolate that. Go back into our MAF curve and notice that that's smoothed out here. We don't find that it's going to be having any dips or peaks. That's what we want to see. We want to see a nice smooth reporting of the airflow. So now when we flash this file, which we're going to save this as a different name here, we're going to go to Save As, and we're going to go here to Rev3. We're going to find in this case that it's going to be reporting more airflow or air mass coming into the engine, and we'll find that the error, the difference between what we're commanding for the PE and the actual lambda or air fuel amount is going to be much closer. It might be off by maybe 1 or 2 or 3%, but it'll be much better, and then we can evaluate that and refine it again. Now, a couple things, additional things I want to pay attention to. Let's go into our chart versus time. Notice, if we look here, that our mass airflow, it's showing here about 38 pound per minute. Now, that is off. That is not going to be registering the correct amount because we were lean here. We know we're off by about 10, 12, 13%. And when we're looking at the pound per minute, this should roughly correlate to the horsepower that the engine's making. We also should find that the torque production that the engine's making should be reported pretty accurately. We should find that under the delivered torque value, which I don't know where it is in my logging list here. We were logging it. Torque. There we go, delivered torque, 292 pound-feet of torque. So depending on where we're plotting out, we should be registering that amount of torque. Now the dyno's showing 430 and the horsepower is 470. So we have a pretty large deviation or difference there. It calculates the torque based on the airflow coming in the engine from the MAF sensor or from speed density operation. So if we're off here, if we're off in our registration of our airflow, it'll be off in what it calculates for torque. It'll be also off in what it calculates or what we can calculate off of horsepower. If we actually take a look at our chart versus time, we can see we made our horsepower chart here, horsepower and torque. We can find, if we're looking here, it's showing 300 pound-feet of torque, and the horsepower of only 300.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.